the Trusted News Initiative. Now, as you know, this was founded by the BBC. It's interesting about the organisations from around the globe. It was AP, AFP, CBC, Radio Canada, the EBU, Financial Times, Information Futures Lab, Google, YouTube, The Hindu, the Nations Media Group, Microsoft, and various others. What are your views on them in particular, James?
I think, because look, there were lots of us who were kind of scratching our heads. I mean, we were talking about Mark Sharman earlier, Andrew. Mark Sharman is a previous exec. He was in charge of Sky News. He was also a senior exec at ITV News as well. And he was actually retired. He came out of retirement because he saw what was going on. And for me as well, there were lots of us scratching our heads, looking around thinking, hang on a sec, what's going on here? There's something unusual going on, because suddenly we've got all of the broadcasters from around the world, all exactly the same message on all of this. And we were like, how's this happening? You know, these organizations are supposed to be rivals with each other. And a good piece about the Trusted News Initiative is actually part of the court case, because Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is actually got an ongoing court case. It's an antitrust case in Texas, in the US, against the Trusted News Initiative and some of its members. As part of that case, I'm just going to read out what Jamie Angus, he was senior news controller at the time at the BBC, what he actually said. He said, of course, the members of the Trusted News Initiative are rivals, but in a crisis like this, we have to focus on the things that we have in common. Because actually, the real rivalry is not between, for example, the BBC and the CNN globally. It is actually between TNI, that's Trusted News Initiative providers, and a tidal wave of unchecked reporting that is being piped out mainly through digital platforms. That's the real competition now in the digital world. And basically what that led to was the Trusted News Initiative. They weren't just kind of fact checking and saying, well, I know he said that, but actually the truth is this. No, that's not what they were doing. Because the other members of the organization were the likes of Twitter, Google, YouTube, Microsoft. So they were all working together, and the tactics they were using against their rivals, as set out by Jamie Angus there, was to deplatform them, to cancel them, to demonetize them, to throttle them, shadow ban them. And, you know, the Great Barrington Declaration is a good example of that. That was a credible plan by world-leading, professors at prestigious universities. And it was attacked because it didn't go along with the plan, which was obviously scaring the bejesus out of everyone and getting everyone to take the vaccine. So it is very, very insidious, I think, this organization. And there's others as well. You know, fact checkers are part of it as well, Andrew. If you follow the money with the fact checkers, they're often funded by the likes of Google, Microsoft. And of course, they're rolled out every time somebody says something that goes against the narrative. They're rolled out as fact checkers to correct those pesky anti-vaxxers. And it is quite scary. It's very, very worrying because, you know, if we don't have free speech, and if these organizations like this are going to censor and cancel credible voices that have a real message to give to the public, then we don't live in a democracy. Because without free speech, without real journalism, the public don't have a choice. So we cannot have a democracy without free speech. And basically, the Trusted News Initiative was all about shutting down opposing views to the official narrative, and whether they were true or not.
Critically analyzing global affairs, the Muckrakers on today's News Talk, TNT.